would, and maybe I should clarify this, 1922 will raise the minimum wage for waitresses that are at $2.13 an hour and have been since 1991. 1991. That's how long it's been since the minimum wage was increased for waitresses. That said, I watched the last vote, and I've watched the session, my last session. And maybe the politics of the country right now. You know, I think we're dealing with the minimum wage in this legislature as they have in other legislatures because there's gridlock in Washington, D.C. We're not doing anything there. We're just, I suppose, voting 48 times to repeal the Affordable Care Act. But other than that, not much else is getting done. And so it's fallen to the states to try to move the ball forward. And I look at the last vote. I look at the last vote as sort of a forecast of how this bill's going to go, perhaps. Maybe it won't. Maybe I'll be surprised. Maybe there was some of you that found something objectionable with that last amendment. But I suspect that this is how the vote's going to go tonight. And I guess I'd ask this question of the people that oppose this. First of all, we do this because nothing is happening in Washington, D.C. to help working people. Nothing. And I look at our legislative session. A couple weeks ago, we had an opportunity to provide health care for the poor. And now today, we are going to vote to leave them there. And then I guarantee you that we'll hear from the talking heads on TV and some of the far right talk about the people who want to use the safety net as a hammock to lay around in. We're talking about people that want to work, that are working. But I want you to do some math today, because I'm going to visit a little bit about the minimum wage and the Medicaid expansion that we passed on. Do the math. You can't afford a health plan on the minimum wage. There are people, you may not know them, there are people trying to raise families on a minimum wage. And there are people working 2 jobs, making minimum wage, and still can't afford health insurance. And when we ask to provide Medicaid expansion for the people who cannot afford it, you said no. 54,000 Nebraskans will go without health insurance. And when we ask you to give them a wage that might permit them to go into the market and buy health coverage and take care of their families, the answer is no. And so my question tonight is, what's the end game? What is the end game with these votes? We do not want to cover you. We know you can't get insurance, but we're not going to cover you. And when you need more money to take care of your family and maybe buy the insurance, we won't allow you. The answer is no. What's the end game? Are we looking to develop 2 classes of people in this country? The working poor who have no insurance. No insurance. They're not driving new cars. They're driving beaters. They're taking the bus to 2 minimum wage jobs, and they can't make it.
1 minute.
They don't have health coverage. They can't sleep at night because they're worried, what if my kid gets sick? What if I get sick? What do I do? No health coverage. No increase in the minimum wage. We can't wait for Washington to do this, colleagues. We cannot wait for Washington to do this because they are paralyzed out there. This should be done in Washington. It should be done nationally, and it isn't happening. And it's not going to. It is up to us. And unless we want 2 classes, the class of the working poor who have no insurance, who have no coverage, who can't take care of their families, and those of us who are privileged to have a job and coverage, we have to do something. That is the policy we were brought here to debate, and the policy we're brought here to make. Let us help these people. They are Nebraskans, and they are the working poor that we're trying to help tonight. I would encourage your vote for the amendment and the bill. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Lathrop.